Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self love, self care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about celebration, not competition. I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence. So I have a couple of pieces that I'm going to read for the Mindfulness Minute this week. Comes from a mindfulness book, but they're real short, so I've added three of them together. The first is, man is what he believes. Second part is, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And leading into the show, the third one is, no matter what, no one can take away the dances you've already had. Word up.
Word up.
And like I said, the third one leads us more into what we're talking about today, about social comparisons. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
I'll let you take the lead on it.
Oh, okay. So this show topic came out of a situation that I found myself in the other day. So for full transparency, our daughter, as you know, is graduating from high school, and she is graduating with honors. We are extremely proud of her. We are extremely proud of ourselves for the work that we've put in as her parents to support her and make sure that she stuck with her education and that she aimed high and that she met the mark that she was aiming for. So as with any other parent who is happy that their child is graduating, I found myself in a conversation with someone, and I was, just kind of, for lack of better term, bragging on how smart and wonderful our daughter is. And then the person that I was talking to began to unfairly compare my daughter to other members of our family in terms of academic achievement and lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it to be quite annoying, quite hurtful, because all I kept thinking in my head was, can't we just celebrate Amira for what she has done, for what she has achieved, and be proud of her for achieving it without saying, oh, your sister's really smart, or your cousin is really smart, or your nephew, he was never that good in school, and stuff like that. So it was like just a weird kind of construct. So then I got to thinking about that led me down a rabbit hole of thoughts of other situations where I had been in, where instead of just celebrating whatever is in front of us that we're talking about and we're celebrating, other things were brought into it to compare or to compete or to take away from the situation that was being celebrated. It's kind of the same as if you say, I'm having a bad morning, I woke up this morning and I stubbed my toe, and then your coworker goes, well, you think that's bad? Well, this morning I woke up and my car wouldn't start, and then I spilled my coffee, and then my computer wouldn't turn on. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't tell you that to try to compare whose hurt was worse or whose morning was worse. I'm just telling you what happened to me this morning. And just for a moment, can we be in the moment and think about me or talk about me and what I just expressed that I was going through, which kind of like leads into, in that regard, if it's something that's negative, it's having empathy for the other person without having to play a game of one-downmanship where I say something and you have to say something that's worse or to make the situation worse. So in terms of celebrating and not competing with people, why are people like this?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Why do you think that is? I think that a lot of humans do that. Everyone has to have a story for someone else's story.
Right.
And like you said, you just can't focus on what the situation or the celebration is about. We have a hard time of just focusing on that. Everybody has to have a story. You got a story, check my story out.
Right.
And like you said, it could even be on the negative side. Oh, you think you got it bad? Let me tell you, I was born with two toes, and my two toes, they didn't bend right. So then they went to put on some more toes and broke off the two good toes. It's like you, you know, and no matter what the situation is, it's like you got a story, so I got a story, and I think that it's to me, it's probably worse when you're trying to celebrate. Because you do get that, especially at family gatherings. You get that you know, it could be a birthday and you talking about somebody else. You know, you're not talking about the person whose birthday it is.
Well, you know, for James's birthday, we went to Scene 75 and we had chocolate cake.
Right.
Timmy's party and we got yellow cake because that's what we like.
Right. And like you said, in a situation where our daughter is graduating, you know, somebody might talk about a person that graduated 30 years ago. You know, what's that got to do with now? Or are you talking about somebody that is not about to graduate? What does that have to do about now? It's like that we have problems staying focused on the conversation or the topic of the conversation. We always have to compare. We always have to throw some comparison out there. That's just like many years ago when and during the time where I wanted to have a record deal and was talking to like managers and agencies, and their whole thing was, if somebody says, what does your sound like? You should always say it sounds like somebody else. Oh, it reminds you of this. But why? I don't want you to be I don't want you to remind of me to be a reminder of something else. I want you to check out what I do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want you to check out my sound. I don't want to be like, oh, well, my stuff reminds you of so and so and so and so. And I think that that's always been a big problem, and that's why you have now all the songs sound like the same song on the radio.
Yes.
You know, so I think that, you know, bringing it back to the celebration, it's like, if you're there to celebrate, we're talking about someone's achievements, you should just do that. But why don't we? Is it that fact that we want to somehow be in the conversation somehow? We might not have anything to add about that particular person that we're celebrating, so you bring up information about somebody that you may know more about. Is that why we do it? Or are we just trying to one up? Maybe we're not trying to one up. Maybe people aren't trying to one up people when they do that. Maybe they haven't contributed to that person's success, so they want to talk about somebody's success that they may have contributed to. You know, that's, you know, a thought to throw out there, possibility.
I mean, that very well could be, you know, a possibility. And so as we are celebrating our daughter, one of the things that I am careful not to do is, if I'm talking to like a fellow parent whose child is also graduating this year, I don't like overly brag or like overly throw our daughter's accomplishments into the conversation, especially if I know that their child isn't doing those things or didn't do those kinds of things, because I don't want it to be an unfair competition or like I'm trying to one up. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to a parent today, as a matter of fact, whose child is also graduating, and I'm like, yeah, my daughter's graduating this year with honors, and you know, she's going to college to study nursing. To which the parent, you know, responded, oh, that, you know, that's great and that's wonderful. And they're like, well, what is she gonna do with that? I'm like, well, she was taking pre-nursing in high school. She already has her STNA certification, so she just wanted to take it further. And I left it at that. Because in the case of the parent that I was talking to, her child is just graduating. There's no plans to go to college. There's no plans to enter the military. Not even really plans to enter the world of work. Like, this child is just going to graduate and get a diploma, and that's that. And that is fine. I'm not knocking that at all. But I made sure not to be like, oh, well, my daughter she's graduated with all A and B honors, and she's got a 3.8 GPA, and she's graduating with 31 credits, and she's got her ASL certification. So I made sure is not to do that, because I don't like when people do that to me. And in that regard, I just felt like it would have been like unnecessary bragging, or like some people call it a humble brag. In that case, it would not have come across as a humble brag. It would have seemed like I was trying to put her child down while bigging up my child, which a lot of people do that. Like, I can't celebrate myself without making you feel smaller. And I don't operate like that. I don't function like that. I never have. You and I had a conversation yesterday. Like, we are two of the biggest non-haters you ever want to meet. I want to see everybody win. I want to see everybody make it. What you're trying to do or what you're trying to make it in may not be my mission. So
Right.
I don't feel the need to unnecessarily compare myself to other people. I'm running a race that God put me in and doing it to the best of my ability. And so because I'm running my race, I really don't have time to pay attention to other people running theirs, except for to celebrate them that they're still running. And whatever that means, whatever race they're in, to just celebrate them that they're still running and they're still going. But when it comes to, to conversations, I threw it out there, like, is this a cultural thing? Is this a Black thing that for so long, we weren't allowed to celebrate each other, that we don't know how to just celebrate, each other. We don't know how to say, hey, your daughter is doing amazing in school and we're so proud of her, and we're here for her, or this event is for her, versus saying, well, your aunt, she wasn't real smart in school, and I don't know what happened, to your cousin and them, but they didn't do so well in school. Like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if it's cultural. I think it's maybe more societal.
Okay.
It's just a human thing. I think that we're always comparing things to another, or trying to make a comparison. I don't know why that is, but like I said, being involved in music, the first thing, well, what's the sound like?
Right.
And a lot of managers and agents I used to talk to said you should always have a selection of people that you say your sound sounds like.
But what if it doesn't?
Yeah, what if it doesn't? And why would you want it to?
Right. And in terms of you as an artist, you have evolved so much as an artist that on one album, I'm getting 4 or 5 different styles. So, like in your younger days where you were more, for lack of a better term, wild and free, I could listen to one of your CDs and get, an ODB or a Busta Rhymes kind of vibe, but that's not what you're going for. That's just who you are. That is you. But then on other songs, you're getting your Barry White on. So it's we still can't, you know what I mean? Like, so you wouldn't be able to answer that question if somebody says, well, who do you sound like? I sound like me. And who I am and who I sound like is dictated by how I was raised, what I listen to, what I like. So on any given day, I could throw in a Picket Fence CD, and depending on the song, it sends me to a different place.
Right, and that's the goal. That's the goal, to take you on a journey, as we always say. But bringing it back, I think that because of so many years of social comparison, and now with social media, I think it's gotten a lot worse. I see people like you said, going through the process we've gone on the last couple of weeks. I saw people not at the event that we went to for our daughter, but posting on social media that they were at that event. And I saw one lady post that her daughter was being recognized with honors and had a video clip. But they didn't say honors for her daughter. But all the students that were getting honors, they said the certification in whatever the subject was with honors. So it's like, why would you say that? And that's not true. It's like because of social media and social comparison, I have to make things seem more than what they are. You know what I mean? And we see it all the time. Like, I'm here where I'm getting flew to, whatever that means. We have to emphasize on stuff that might not even be true because of social comparison.
Right. And if you recall, Bow Wow actually, had a big, skerfuffle in the news about a year or so ago, because he said that he was on a private jet flying somewhere, and it turned out that he was on the Southwest plane and he was in coach. But like you said, because of that, the comparison of I have to be great, or in his case, I'm a star, so people expect a certain level of opulence out of me. Mm-hmm. So I have to show that opulence even when it's not true, because if people catch me flying coach, then I'm gonna get clowned or somebody's gonna say something. But it's kind of also one of those situations where if he had never posted that, nobody would have known either way.
Nobody would have known either way.
And really nobody would have cared, because honestly, first class and coach get to the destination at the same time.
Sure do.
So it doesn't matter where your seat is on the plane, you're going to get there at the same time. You may not get off the plane at the same time, but you're going to arrive at the same time. So you just wait and get off the plane last. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to spend that extra money just to be the first one off the plane. I'm cool.
No, I mean, I just think that's just something that has made it worse. It's because of social media. I think we've always had social comparisons. And social media has just amplified it to an unstoppable measure.
Right, and I will definitely echo that sentiment that social media has made it worse, as we're all in a braggadocious, everybody look at me, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, I'm doing these wonderful things. But it reminded me of like the meme that floated around Facebook a few years ago, and it was like, notice you don't see commercials for Bentley and Rolls Royce, but you see commercials for lower class cars, because high quality people don't need to brag about what they do, they just do what they do. And if you notice, but typically you notice because it's not out there, and so we do that when it comes to relationships, especially. If you don't post them, then it ain't true and it ain't accurate, and the relationship ain't real until you post it. But why?
And you have the opposite of that too. Like, somebody will be in a relationship and always cover up the person's face with a sticker or something.
That is probably the dumbest thing I've seen on social media.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's really weird. We live in weird times. I mean, situations have always been weird. Like I said, there's always been social comparison, but I think social media has made it more weird. Even when you're not on social media and you're in person, it seems like it's more amplified, because all thing you do is talk about the stuff you saw on social media.
Right.
Especially now it's different when you talk about entertainment. People have always talked about entertainment, star stuff, but when you're talking about regular common folk, as if they were celebrities, and everybody thinks they're a celebrity. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't do anything, people think that they're celebrities. There are people who take pictures and so-called model poses, because these are the certain poses you're supposed to take for social media. And we see that all the time. We asked our daughter just to take a regular picture of us. It's like, I got to get the angles. The angles? Just take the dang on picture. Just take the dang on picture.
Right. And for the record, ladies, crossing your legs in your photos does not make you look skinnier.
No, it doesn't at all. It looks
makes
like
you
you got
look
to go
like
to the
a giraffe.
bathroom,
Right.
or
You
you got
have
to
to
go
look
to
like
the
a giraffe.
restroom.
Yeah, you got to go to the bathroom or a newborn giraffe or something. That does not make you look skinnier. Please stop doing that.
And I don't know what the toes pointing in the heel. I don't know what the heck that's supposed to be, like an imaginary high heel. I don't even know why. It doesn't even make any sense. I don't. What's wrong with your foot? Is it hurting or something? I need a foot rub. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell nobody what to do, but right now I'm saying it looks weird. Okay, it looks real weird.
Well, I'm gonna add 2 more to the list, and I am telling people what to do. Stop wearing belly shirts, and then you take a picture and cover up your stomach. If you are confident enough to wear that crop top and have your stomach out, looking like an oatmeal pie or looking smooth like a washboard, don't put your hand over your stomach when you take a picture, because we can see you in person.
Hey, let that bend lat flow. Let that bend lat flow. You know, I mean, if you got it, you got it. If you I mean, it seems like that Lizzo has told fat girls to sport their fatness. So I mean, you went and bought the outfit, so sport the fatness. Why is your hand over your stomach?
Right.
Is it a hand drum now? You're making your stomach a hand drum now? I don't know what's going on. It's just real weird. I guess I'm just getting old. I'm not telling nobody what to do. I'm gonna just put it on myself. Say I'm getting old, but it looks weird to me. Y'all doing weird stuff.
So while I'm still going, I'm gonna say, stop doing duck lips. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So those are my 3 things to stop doing, ladies. When you take a photo, just smile or don't smile. If you want to give Naomi Campbell fierceness and you want to give Tyra Banks smizing, which is smiling with your eyes, do that. But please stop poking your lips out, because it looks like you're trying to smell your lips to see if your breath stinks. Just let's not do that.
Okay, so the 3 things you are telling people to do is no duck face, no leg crossing, and no hand on the belly.
Yes.
All right, we got that out the way.
Stop it and stop it now.
Stop it and stop it now. All right, we're running out of time, but as always, let me get a self-care assignment before we get to my favorite part of the show. This week's self-care assignment, as we're all entering graduation time, if you have a high school or college graduation time, we're having Memorial Day parties, and you gather with your folks and somebody has some news, let their news be on display without having a comparison story. Yes. Word up. And with that being said, let's get into my favorite part of the show. Brain science.
All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of ways to handle when you're in a conversation with someone and they are comparing you to somebody else. Nice ways to deal with it for your own sanity, your own self-care, and to rewire your brain to think positively. So we all know at any given time, someone has told us, why can't you be more like this person or that person? You will immediately understand how celebration and not competing is so important. It might be your parents comparing you to another sibling or a family member, your teacher comparing you to another student, or your boss comparing you to a staff member. It could be a friend doing the comparing. It could even be your partner comparing you to one of their exes. God forbid. Being compared to other people does not feel good. No one wants to feel like who they are is not enough. No one wants to feel like someone wants them to be someone else. So, the first thing I want you to do is be aware when you are feeling like someone is comparing you to somebody else. What you don't want to do is be walking around angry or upset when you don't even know what is bugging you, what is making you mad. Be aware of when being compared to someone else bothers you. You may be getting upset without even understanding why. Be aware of how it makes you feel. Address your feelings. Are you upset? Are you angry? Are you disappointed, sad, or slightly miffed? For me personally, I always find that owning my feelings helps me to move on and move forward in a positive way. What doesn't help is denying or hiding from your feelings. If you try to hide from your feelings, they have a way of rising up later and sometimes coming out in ways that are not always conducive to positive, healthy relationships with others around you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so know your comparison triggers. As mentioned earlier, it helps to know trigger words and how to deal with them. The same can go for comparisons. A particular comparison from a particular person can trigger an emotional reaction that is stronger than if it comes from someone else. Typically, if a comparison is coming from a parent and you are being compared to a sibling, that will make you more upset than if your boss compared you to your coworker, because the feeling and the connection between you and that person is much more personal, so you feel it on a deeper level, especially if it's something that's been happening to you your whole life. Okay? So, understand it's about who is doing the comparing. Sometimes it's not even about you. It's about the person you are talking to, dealing with feelings of inadequacy of their own, or like you mentioned earlier, the person who I was speaking to was maybe realizing that they didn't do as much as they should have or could have done to contribute to the success of the person that's being celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
So that is always a possibility. Excuse me. This can cause a lot of angst and a lot of hurt feelings. So you want to make sure that you work those feelings out. Use your words. You can have a conversation with that person and let them know that you don't like that. Understand that you are in control of your thoughts and actions. So you can't control this person comparing you to someone else, but you can control what you do with that and how you react to it and how you choose to respond. So you can respond in a way that can either make this a positive situation and a positive outcome that will maybe just stop the conversation, or if you respond in the wrong manner, now you have a situation that may be hard to repair once those hurt feelings turn into words and turn into anger toward the other person. So I like this one. Be aware of sneaky comparisons. When someone compares you to someone else, but it's like indirect, but you definitely can feel it, like they're trying to be subliminal, and in some ways, for lack of a better term, when somebody trying to be funny, that. So right. It's where a person constantly talks about how great someone else is, and then it's generally followed by criticism aimed at you in your direction. And it says here that this could be common coming from parents. So one important point to make here is that sometimes sneaky comparisons aren't about comparisons. They are about guilt, like you said earlier. If someone is trying to make us feel guilty for something, it can sound like a comparison, and what it really is a guilt trip. Ask yourself, are you overreacting? Check yourself. Check in with your feelings and check in. Did I hear that wrong? Am I reacting to this statement because of who said it, how it was said, or how I may be feeling that this comparison that they're making is true and I feel inadequate, and it's bringing up feelings of inadequacy, which is making me kind of overreact, because sometimes we tend to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And last but not least, ask yourself, is it important? Is it important enough for you to be right, for you to be celebrated and not compared to someone else? If it is that important, then there's a way to speak up and address it, which we said earlier. Conversation, clear communication cancels conflict every single time.
Word up. And also, we have to say, we're talking about celebrating people and talking about those people that we're celebrating. If someone doesn't want to be celebrated, don't do that either. If you haven't seen recently, a guy sued his job because they threw him a birthday party, and birthday parties brought a traumatic experience for him. And he told them, I did not want this, and they did it anyway. and he sued, and he doesn't have to work anymore. Also, there's those stories, especially when you have family gatherings where somebody has this soul story about that they want to tell about a person, and that person doesn't like that story. Stop telling that story.
Yes, please.
Period. 2 more things before we get out of here. We're running over time, but this show, if you're watching the show this week, which is it's going to air the 17th tomorrow, come check out Lady Bounce this Friday, May the 20th at Barrel House, holding down her residency of house DJ for that night every third Friday. And also go cop that album from Pickett and Kuda, Gleek. A portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Dayton African American Cultural Festival. So go buy that album. Word up. And that's our show for this week. You can find us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. We're on all social media. Fly With Us Podcast. It's your boy Picket Fence.
I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
We out of here. Peace.